What I feel after all of this is it's not about punishing. If somebody has, is struggling and has difficulties, you don't punish them for that. And I think a lot of these programs feel like the kid is being punished. And I don't think that's a great way to go. You're a parent and you think, here's my kid running out into the street, he's going to get hit by a truck. You want to keep him.
Spielberg and Rob Reiner stand tall as two cinematic legends, each owning their own lane, but powered by the same unstoppable passion for storytelling. Spielberg built his name crafting worlds so intense and real, you can almost feel the air shift when you watch them. Meanwhile, Reiner became the king of witty dialogue and deep emotion, pulling out laughter and tears like no one else. They had different flavors, but mutual respect ran deep. Their paths crossed often at Hollywood gatherings, where film talk flowed easy and genuine admiration filled the room. That's why a sudden burst of shocking online rumors about Rob hit the industry like a storm and left Spielberg stunned. For a short moment, he was struck with disbelief and worry. This was his longtime friend, after all. Just a few weeks before, Spielberg had been chatting with Rob at a lively event, watching him beam with pride as he spoke about his son, Nick, overcoming tough struggles and finally getting his life back on track. You could see the real joy glowing on Rob's face.
Nick attended Conan O'Brien's Christmas party Saturday night with his parents, Michelle and Rob. Maybe Nick was not invited to Conan O'Brien's party. He was wearing a hoodie. Reports are that he was acting weird, apparently accosting celebrities outside. Nick reportedly stormed off in a huff after a tiff with Bill Hader of SNL and Barry at Conan's Christmas party, and that Rob had been telling people, friends, that they were scared for Nick and scared for his mental state, that it was deteriorating.
The two filmmakers stood there, tossing around ideas, dreaming up fresh stories, ready to create something new. Then came the flood of exaggerated reports spreading across the internet, turning joy into chaos almost overnight. The weight of it all hit hard, even before the truth surfaced. It was a brutal reminder of how fast false stories can spread in today's digital world. Luckily, the rumors turned out to be completely untrue, but the emotional toll didn't fade so easily. For Spielberg, the experience felt like peering into a twisted version of reality no filmmaker ever wants to face. Spielberg later spoke out about the situation in one of his rare emotional interviews, and his words hit deep. Rob wasn't just a colleague, he said, his voice steady but full of heart. He was a true friend, someone who shared this wild cinematic journey with me. Every word carried power, and you could feel the emotion behind it. The scare had clearly shaken him, not just as a director, but as a person who truly cared. As Spielberg reflected, you could see the mix of sadness and frustration in his eyes. It wasn't easy for him to talk about. He went back in time, remembering when he and Rob were just dreamers, trying to make their mark in an industry that didn't give out easy wins. "I remember Rob back then, full of ambition, but never arrogant," he recalled, his hands tightening slightly as the memories came flooding back. The mutual respect between them had never disappeared.
Today I'm here to announce that our office will be filing charges against Nick Reiner, who is accused of killing his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and photographer-producer Michelle Singer.
And neither had the admiration that tied them together through decades of storytelling. When Spielberg began talking about the films that shaped Reiner's legacy, the emotion in his tone said it all. He spoke with honesty and warmth, reflecting on what made Rob truly one of a kind in Hollywood. He made stories that made people laugh, cry, and feel something real, Spielberg said. Filmmaking isn't just about art. It's about human connection. Every sentence landed with weight. You could feel the energy in the room shift. To Spielberg, Rob wasn't just the man behind The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, or Stand By Me. He was someone who could turn laughter into lessons and friendship into lasting meaning. Rob left behind a legacy of films that will live on forever. But for Spielberg, the emotional weight of watching a close friend face hard times never really faded. When the sad news broke, Spielberg reached out to the Reiner family with a heartfelt message filled with care and compassion. He wrote, "I am deeply saddened by Rob and Michelle's passing," making it clear that his words came from a place of love and unity, not for attention or headlines. He spoke about Rob with true sincerity, calling him a wonderful friend, an extraordinary collaborator, and a gifted storyteller. You could feel how deeply that friendship ran. Then Spielberg shared a rare personal memory, one that showed the more private side of their bond and the struggles that sometimes hide behind success. He recalled a night years earlier at a casual Hollywood get-together where laughter echoed through the room and stories from old film shoots bounced from wall to wall. Yet, amid the lively chatter, Spielberg noticed Rob off to the side, quiet and distant, holding a drink and lost in thought. His energy felt heavy, completely different from the room's upbeat mood. Spielberg walked over and gently said, "Rob, it's been a while. You don't look yourself. Everything okay?" Rob paused, sighed, and motioned for him to step outside onto the balcony, away from the noise and bright lights. That's when Rob finally opened up. He confided that Nick was going through some rough times, and the worry in his voice said everything. Spielberg remembered how Rob spoke about his son's struggles with care and respect, never placing blame, just sharing his concern as a father trying to hold it all together. "I could hear the pain in every word he spoke," Spielberg recalled, his tone filled with empathy and heartbreak. Rob tried to smile, tried to brush it off like everything was fine, but the sadness behind his eyes said otherwise. Eventually, Rob sighed and confessed quietly, "Stephen, Nick's been fighting his own battles for years. We've tried every bit of help we could. Therapy, structure, family support, but somehow the struggle always finds its way back." His voice was low, his gaze fixed on the dark sky, heavy with a kind of pain only a parent could truly feel. Spielberg would never forget that moment, the night Rob Reiner finally let his guard down and showed how much he'd been carrying inside. Rob spoke about how he had poured his soul into creating Being Charlie, a film that was more than just art. It was his way of reaching out to his son, hoping it might help heal some of the hurt and bring their family closer again. For a while, it actually worked, and there was hope. But then Rob's tone shifted, tighter and full of worry. He was doing so well for a time, but now it feels like we're back in the storm again. You could hear the fear in every syllable. "I'm scared, Stephen. Every morning I wake up afraid something might go wrong." Spielberg listened quietly, choosing his words with care before saying, "Rob, you've done everything a father could possibly do. Nick is lucky to have you and Michelle standing beside him." Rob only shook his head, his voice trembling under the weight of emotion. "Sometimes," he admitted softly, "we listen too much to doctors and not enough to our own child. I just want to help him, but the harder I try, the more lost I feel." The two men sat in silence for a while, taking slow sips of wine as the night air grew still, the truth between them too heavy to ignore. That conversation never faded from Spielberg's memory. Time went on, years rolled by, but the emotion of that night stayed as sharp as ever. By October 2025, fate brought them together again, this time at the Governor's Awards, hosted by the Academy of Motion Picture and Art Sciences in Los Angeles. The venue sparkled with the glow of Hollywood royalty. Legends, directors, and stars all gathered under one roof. As Spielberg walked into the grand hall, his eyes immediately caught sight of Rob across the room, laughing, wide and full of life. It stopped him cold for a moment, the sight of his old friend looking so alive again. Without hesitation, Spielberg made his way through the crowd and pulled Rob into a tight hug, the kind shared between two brothers who've weathered years of triumphs and heartbreak together. "Rob, you look incredible," Spielberg said, his voice filled with genuine warmth. How have you been?" Rob chuckled, his eyes bright in a way Spielberg hadn't seen in ages. "Steven, you won't believe this," he said with excitement bursting through his tone. "Nick's home. He's doing so much better. He's been clean for months now. He's working small gigs, spending time with us again, like the old days." A wave of relief hit Spielberg right in the chest. All those late-night talks, the worry, the pain, they flashed through his mind in an instant. He squeezed Rob's shoulder with a proud smile. "That's incredible, Rob. You and Michelle never stopped believing. After everything, you've got hope again." That moment carried a rare sense of hope, something earned the hard way after years of worry and uncertainty. Looking back, Spielberg later admitted that when the memory resurfaced, his voice grew quiet. Who could have imagined what was coming next? Just a few months later, life would remind everyone how delicate hope can really be. Spielberg recalled the shock he felt when he first read about the heartbreaking situation surrounding Rob Reiner's family. It hit him like a wave. All that fresh hope, the light that had only just started to shine again, felt like it disappeared in an instant. He remembered standing by his window that night, staring out in silence, his thoughts floating back to that evening at the awards ceremony. The laughter, the bright lights, the feeling that things were finally turning around. He remembered his words from that night. "Rob, I'm happy for you. Hold on to hope." And Rob's quiet nod, his eyes glowing with gratitude. Only later did Spielberg realize how fragile that moment truly was, how quickly life can twist and turn without warning. In the days that followed the difficult news and the emotional storm that swept through Hollywood, Spielberg found himself revisiting one of Rob's most beloved films, The Princess Bride. Watching it again felt like reconnecting with an old friend. He smiled through tears when he heard the timeless line, "As you wish," and softly whispered to himself, "Rob, you lived fully, and your stories will never fade." When Spielberg finally spoke publicly, his message carried calm and respect. There was no speculation, just grace. He offered peace and gratitude, honoring Rob's legacy with heartfelt sincerity. In that moment, Hollywood felt a little heavier, but the magic of their films still burned bright, alive, and deeply human. Truth be told, Spielberg and Reiner weren't the kind of friends who talked every week or dropped by each other's homes unannounced, but inside the film world, their connection ran deep. It was built on something rare, pure, unwavering respect. Both men shared a deep belief that storytelling is a powerful human force, shaped by culture, upbringing, and a love for creativity. Coming from families that valued art, curiosity, and expression, they saw film as more than entertainment. It was a reflection of life itself. Rob Reiner was drawn to grounded, heart-driven stories, films about friendship, love, fear, and the battles we fight within ourselves. Spielberg, meanwhile, aimed for stories on a grander scale, filled with wonder, emotion, and worlds that felt larger than life, yet incredibly personal at the same time. Different styles, same purpose. Their paths often crossed at award shows, film panels, and Hollywood gatherings, where they always greeted each other with warmth and admiration. Reiner once said that Spielberg's gift for blending emotion with visual storytelling was something every filmmaker could learn from. Spielberg, in return, praised Reiner's rare ability to tap into everyday humanity, the kind that makes people laugh, cry, and reflect on their own lives. That mutual respect wasn't loud or flashy. It was real, and it spoke volumes. In an industry full of competition, the quiet praise they exchanged was one of the most genuine forms of honor a filmmaker could give another. Stephen Allen Spielberg was born on December 18, 1946 in Cincinnati, Ohio, into a family with proud Eastern European Jewish roots. He was the oldest of 4 children and the only son, growing up alongside 3 lively younger sisters who kept the house full of noise, laughter, and chaos. His father, Arnold Spielberg, was a brilliant electrical engineer, a man who worked with the early giants of computer technology. His mother, Leah, was a gifted pianist whose music filled their home with warmth, rhythm, and creativity. Those two worlds, logic and emotion, structure and imagination, would later collide inside Steven and shape one of the most powerful storytelling minds cinema has ever known. The Spielberg household always felt warm and full of love, but rarely stable. Every time life started to feel settled, boxes would reappear, and another move was on the horizon because of his job. New streets, new schools, new faces, nothing stayed the same for long. Familiar places vanished in the rearview mirror, and young Steven had to adapt fast to a life that kept shifting beneath him. "I remember every move," Spielberg once said. "Each time I felt like I left a little piece of myself behind." But those experiences didn't just fade, they transformed him. That sense of constant change taught him to observe, to listen, and to quietly read a room before speaking. He learned how to understand people, not just watch them. Those lessons didn't come from comfort, they came from movement, from uncertainty, from always being the new kid. By the age of 6, his parents took him to see The Greatest Show on Earth, a film that would change his life forever. The film was The Greatest Show on Earth, directed by Cecil B. DeMille, and the moment the lights dimmed and the circus burst onto the screen, young Steven was completely mesmerized. His eyes widened, his breath caught. He was hooked. When the movie ended and they stepped outside, he grabbed his mother's hand and whispered with awe, "I want to make things that make people feel fear and joy like that." Leah smiled softly, brushed his hair from his face, and said, "Then first, my dear Stevie, you must learn how to tell stories." That single moment would stay with him forever. By the time Steven turned 12, his father handed him an 8mm camera, and everything changed. From that day on, he filmed non-stop, family road trips, backyard adventures, and even toy train crashes that he'd set up just to recreate the same rush of excitement and tension he'd felt in the theater. He'd direct his sisters with total confidence, saying, "You play the victims, I'll be the hero." Those tiny, grainy home movies became his first lessons in turning fear into creativity and chaos into story. But outside the comfort of his camera lens, life wasn't always kind. When the Spielberg family moved to Phoenix, Arizona in 1957, Steven found himself in unfamiliar territory, one of the few Jewish kids in the area. He later spoke honestly about those years, about facing teasing and harsh treatment that made him feel like an outsider. "I always wondered why I was different," he once admitted. Instead of fighting back, he turned inward, watching, listening, learning. That quiet pain sharpened his sense of empathy and gave him a deep understanding of loneliness, fear, and hope. At just 13 years old, Steven created a 40-minute war film titled Escape to Nowhere, and it actually won a local youth film competition. By the time he was 16, he had saved every penny he could to make Firelight, a sci-fi movie that ran for over 2 hours. It only played for one night at a small neighborhood theater with just a few dozen people in the seats, but to Steven, it felt like a blockbuster premiere. When the lights came on, he looked around that tiny theater and said to himself with complete confidence, "One day, people will line up to see my movies." But not everything in his teenage years was filled with dreams and film reels. Spielberg later revealed one of the hardest memories from that time, something that quietly shaped his view of love, loyalty, and forgiveness. During a family camping trip when he was 16, Steven was filming near the campfire, just capturing simple family moments. Without realizing it, his camera caught a quiet moment between his mother, Leah, and a close family friend, Bernie Adler. That image stunned him. It was something he wasn't prepared to see. In an instant, he shut off the camera and tucked the memory deep inside, saying nothing for years. When his parents eventually divorced in 1965, his father, Arnold, took the weight of the blame on his own shoulders, choosing silence over explanation to protect Leah and the family's privacy. Steven moved to California with his dad, still unaware of the truth behind what really happened. In that confusion and teenage anger, he grew distant and resentful. At one point, overwhelmed by hurt, he said something he would later regret: "Dad ruined this family." Arnold didn't argue or try to explain. He simply nodded, accepting the pain without defense. That mix of unresolved conflict, loneliness, and guilt shaped Spielberg's deep understanding of human emotion, the constant pull between love and anger, silence and forgiveness. Those raw emotional contrasts would later echo through his films, especially The Fabelmans, where memory and storytelling collide in powerful, personal ways. By the late 1960s, Spielberg's gift was impossible to ignore. In 1968, his short film, Amblin, premiered at a film festival and completely blew away the executives from Universal Studios. That was the moment he realized this wasn't just a dream or a hobby, this was his destiny. Determined to make it, Spielberg dropped out of college, took an unpaid internship at Universal, and started sneaking into empty office spaces at night to work on his own projects. His ambition was unstoppable. Then, in 1969, at only 22 years old, Steven Spielberg signed a long-term directing deal with Universal, becoming the youngest filmmaker in Hollywood history to ever earn that kind of contract. He started small, directing episodes for TV shows like Night Gallery and Columbo, sharpening his craft with every frame he shot. But it was the 1971 television film Duel that changed everything. That tense story of a man being chased down a highway by a mysterious truck had audiences glued to their screens. The suspense, pacing, and raw energy proved Spielberg was more than just talented. He was extraordinary. The success of Duel opened the door to his first feature-length movie, The Sugarland Express, which set the stage for what was coming next. Then came 1975 and Jaws. The shark thriller didn't just scare moviegoers, it changed the film industry forever. With over $470 million in global earnings, Jaws invented the concept of the summer blockbuster and turned Spielberg into a household name overnight. There were moments I honestly thought the shark would get me before the film was finished, Spielberg once joked. But Jaws didn't just survive the chaos, it transformed him into a global icon and forever changed the movie industry. After that, he proved he wasn't just a master of thrills and spectacle, he had a deep emotional side too. With Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Spielberg showed the world his compassionate heart, turning science fiction into something tender and full of wonder. His stories weren't just about creatures or technology, they were about connection, loneliness, and the hope that lives in every human being. Then came his historical and war dramas, Schindler's List and Saving Ryan Private, where he faced the rawest sides of humanity head-on, exploring morality, sacrifice, and the true cost of survival. Those films earned him not only Oscars, but deep respect from peers and audiences everywhere. In 1994, Spielberg co-founded DreamWorks, launching an empire of creativity that produced hits across every genre imaginable. Even as the years rolled into the 2000s, he kept that same spark alive with powerful films like Lincoln and Bridge of Spies, proving his storytelling fire never dimmed. Despite all that fame, Spielberg kept his personal life low-key. In 1985, he married actress Amy Irving, and that same year they welcomed their son, Max Samuel. Though their marriage ended in 1989, they remained respectful and united as parents. Amy once said, "We always did what was best for Max," and Spielberg echoed that with gratitude and care. Not long after, Steven found lasting love with actress Kate Capshaw, whom he had directed in Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Doom. Their connection grew naturally, both personal and creative, and soon turned into a partnership built on mutual respect and admiration. Spielberg once said, "I watched Kate's audition tape and knew right away she was perfect for the role." Kate later joked, "I never imagined that a role filled with screaming and chaos would lead me to the love of my life." While filming across Sri Lanka and the United States, Steven Spielberg and Kate Capshaw naturally grew close, sharing meals, long talks, and quiet laughs between those long, demanding shoot days. At that time, Spielberg was still in a relationship with Amy Irving, so his bond with Kate remained purely professional and respectful. There was a spark, but they both knew the timing had to be right. It wasn't until 1989, after Spielberg's divorce, that the two finally reconnected and allowed that friendship to blossom into something real. Kate later explained, "We grew close on set, but we both understood we had to wait for the right time before anything truly personal could begin. That patience turned into something lasting." Before their wedding, Kate embraced Judaism, and in 1991 they were married in both civil and Orthodox Jewish ceremonies, honoring faith, love, and tradition in one beautiful moment. Spielberg later shared that marrying Kate helped him reconnect with his roots and rediscover the meaning of family and heritage. Their union grew into one of Hollywood's most admired blended families. Kate brought her daughter Jessica from a previous marriage, while Spielberg had his son Max from his earlier marriage to Amy. Together, they opened their hearts and welcomed more children, both biological and adopted, creating a warm, creative, and diverse household filled with love and laughter. Their marriage has now lasted over 30 years, a remarkable feat in an industry where relationships rarely stand the test of time. Over the years, Kate gradually stepped away from acting, choosing to focus on her family and her passion for painting, while Spielberg continued crafting films that defined generations. Some of Spielberg and Capshaw's children stepped into the world of film, acting, or entertainment, while others chose completely different paths, each following their own passions with full independence. In 2020, one of Spielberg's daughters spoke openly about her personal career choices, emphasizing that they were made entirely on her own, with nothing but love and support from her family.
Spielberg has always stood by one core belief as a parent. His job isn't to control, but to guide with care, patience, and respect. He's made it clear that family means giving space for individuality, not setting limits on it. Beyond his home, Spielberg has been just as nurturing in the film industry, often stepping into a mentor role for young actors finding their footing in Hollywood. One of the most famous examples is Drew Barrymore, whom he worked with during E.T. the Extraterrestrial. She was only a child then, and Spielberg became a steady, caring presence in her life. She needed stability, he once said. Being there for her wasn't just a duty, it truly mattered to me. That compassion and understanding helped shape his reputation as not just a legendary filmmaker, but a genuine, grounded human being. Even now, at 79 years old, Spielberg shows no signs of slowing down. He's still developing fresh projects, exploring new stories, and revisiting beloved franchises with the same excitement and curiosity he had as a teenager holding his first camera. "I've never felt tired of storytelling," he said with a soft grin. "Every film is another chance to say something real." In recent years, Steven Spielberg has shifted more attention toward balance and well-being, making thoughtful lifestyle changes to keep both his body and mind strong enough for the non-stop demands of modern filmmaking. Those who work closely with him say his creativity is still razor-sharp, driven not by pressure or fame, but by focus, discipline, and genuine purpose. After reflecting deeply on the fragility of life and the lasting bonds he's shared with fellow filmmakers, like his heartfelt memories of Rob Reiner, Spielberg reminded everyone of a truth that's guided him for decades. Awards fade, fame fades, but people are the story. That belief has been the heartbeat of his entire career. Every project he's ever touched carries that same message. Behind every camera, every set, and every award show moment, it's always about the human connection. Spielberg's journey isn't just about film, it's about empathy, resilience, and the beauty of storytelling that brings people together. If this story touched you, share your thoughts below. What do Steven Spielberg or Rob Reiner's films mean to you? Which of their stories shaped your view of life, friendship, or creativity? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the emotional side of Hollywood's greatest legends. There's always another story waiting to be told, and we'll be right here to tell it with you.